Do it again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the set of Take It From Somebody That Knows. I'm your host, Diggy Knows. Hey man, I'm looking to kick off this monologue series where I'm going to be sharing some of my most inner thoughts with you all about just things. And right now, I feel compelled to share some of my more inner thoughts. I'm gonna kick this first one off with and I title it Learning to Stand in My Own Shoes. Difficult thing to do when you've never done it before because you're always looking to help people. So I've been thinking about something lately and I guess I started to realize something about myself that I'm like very, very empathetic. I can step outside of my own shoes and I could genuinely understand why you feel the way you feel, even when I disagree with you. I can understand where you come from. I can understand what happened to you. I can understand why you make the decisions that you make. And because I understand it, I have compassion for you. And for a long time, I thought that one of my strengths, I just thought it was one of my strengths. And it is. But I'm starting to realize there's another side to it. Because somewhere along the way, I started to expect people to do the same thing for me, and they don't. And that shit made me angry. Because I'm sitting here thinking, how in the hell can you not see me? How could you not see this? How could you not understand where I'm coming from? I'm spending all of this energy trying to understand everybody else. And I'm looking around wondering who's trying to understand me. Then somebody said something to me recently and it changed the way I look at it. They said, why would they try to understand you? They're the main character in their own life. And I'm like, damn, I ain't never think about it like that. Because if everything is working according to the reality that somebody understands, why would they question that reality? If the system is working for you, why would you spend much time thinking about how that same system feels to anybody else? I spent so much time trying to step into everybody else's shoes that I haven't spent enough time standing in my own. And I think that's where some of my resentment comes from. Because my life has put me in some very different rooms. You know, I come from what some people call ghetto America. You know, it's a part of me. The language, the music, the struggle, the humor, the survival, the community. The way that people looked out for one another when nobody had shit. That's a part of me. But then my life took me somewhere completely different. I went to the Naval Academy. I entered leadership. I entered professional spaces. I entered institutions. I learned economics, business, real estate, money, and what people call power. I learned to sit in rooms with people whose lives look nothing like the life that I came from. And then something happened where I learned both languages. I could sit with somebody struggling to make rent and I can understand them. And I could sit with somebody who's discussing investments and wealth and understand them. I can understand a person who doesn't trust the system, and I can understand a person who has benefited tremendously from it. I've learned how to cross those tracks. And sometimes when you learn to live in both worlds, you don't belong to either one of them anymore. And because you can understand everybody, while feeling like nobody completely understands you. See, I had a conversation recently with an associate of mine, and we come from some different backgrounds. We were talking about society, economics, capitalism, all of that. And he said something to me, and I'm going to paraphrase this. He says, you should be grateful because this system and the conditions afforded you have given you the life that you have today. And something about that pissed me the fuck off. At first, I couldn't explain why, but because intellectually I can understand the argument, I I have benefited from the opportunities. I've had access. I've accomplished things. I understand all that, but emotionally, it was what I heard was something different. What I heard was, uh, look at the life you came from. Look at the life you have now. Clearly, this life is better. You were fortunate enough to gain access to it, and you should be grateful. And then that's when something inside me said, yo, hold the fuck up. Don't use my success as a proof to validate that your world is superior to mine, because you don't know what it costs for me to get here. And more importantly, you don't understand everything that existed over there. So this J. Cole got a song called Love Yours, right? And there's something about the message that hits differently when you actually cross the tracks. Because sometimes you find yourself missing a time where you had less. And I know it sounds crazy to people, but like, why would you miss struggling? I don't. I don't miss being broke. I don't miss not having opportunities, financial insecurity. I don't miss that stuff. But there are some things that I do miss about that world. I miss the camaraderie. I miss community. I miss people being in the fight together. I miss simplicity. Because over here, every goddamn day feels like an uphill battle where you're fighting by yourself. You know, it's more responsibility. It's more decisions. It's more expectations. It's more pressure. Everybody looks at you and what you've accumulated and thinks like, nigga, you made it. Meanwhile, you thinking, man, I'm fucking tired. And you know, that's where the survivor's guilt creeps in. You cross the tracks, and sometimes you look back and you wonder, was I happy over there? Not because poverty was beautiful, not because the struggle was something to celebrate, but because material advancement and human fulfillment are not the same thing. I could say I never want to struggle financially again and still say there are things about the world that were beautiful, and both can still be true. And here's another thing that I'm realizing. When somebody tells me that you should be grateful, here's what I hear. You don't have the right to be unhappy. Look at your house, look at your career, your accomplishments, your family, your opportunities. Look at everything that you got. What the hell do you have to complain about? But gratitude doesn't erase pain. Success doesn't eliminate loneliness. Money doesn't eliminate confusion. Achievement doesn't eliminate exhaustion. And access doesn't erase where you come from. You can be grateful and you can still be hurting. But I also had to challenge myself, because I can't fight an inferiority complex by creating a superiority complex. It's the same disease wearing a different uniform. The answer isn't actually my world is better than yours. The answer is my world doesn't require your approval to have value, and that's different. I don't need somebody from another background to validate where I come from, and I don't need people where I grew up to validate who I become. I don't have to choose. I don't have to erase one version of myself to justify the other. I get to keep all of me. I'm still a kid from the hood. I'm the Naval Academy graduate. I'm the leader, the businessman, the father, the husband, the friend, the person who can walk in the boardroom and the person can go right back home and understand exactly what's being said without anybody having to explain a damn thing. None of those versions of me are inferior, and none of them need permission to exist. And then I had to confront something even harder. I spent a lot of my time trying to drag people with me. Like, if I found an opportunity, I want somebody else to have it. If I learn something, I want somebody else to learn it. If I see another way of thinking, I want other people around me to see it too. The mindset was always, come on, let's go. You can build this. Let's grow. Let's change. And then I get frustrated when people don't want to come. Maybe that's another form of stepping into somebody else's shoes instead of standing inside of mine, because not everybody wants that journey. Everybody isn't supposed to understand my journey. And everyone damn sure isn't obligated to come with me. I can open the door and I don't have to drag anybody through it. And maybe that's the lesson that I'm sitting with right now. My empathy is a gift, but my empathy is not a contract. Just because I understand you, that doesn't mean that you're going to understand me. And just because I have compassion for you, doesn't mean you're going to have the same capacity for me. And just because I can see the world through your eyes doesn't mean I have to abandon what I see through mine. I can understand somebody without carrying them. I can love somebody without saving them. I can offer somebody an opportunity without forcing them to take it. I can allow somebody to misunderstand me without spending all of my energy trying to correct them. And man, I think that is going to be freedom for me. Because maybe I spent too much of my life trying to become understandable, trying to prove why I think the way I think, why I care the way I care, and why certain things bother me, why certain communities matter to me, why I move the way I move. Maybe everybody doesn't need the explanation. Maybe I do. Maybe the person who really needed understanding was me. I spent years becoming capable enough to navigate everybody else's reality. And maybe this next chapter is about finally creating and inhabiting my own, standing in my own shoes, feeling my own feelings, deciding what success means to me, deciding what's enough, and not requiring anybody else's worldview to certify it. So when I think back to that conversation I had with my associate, I'm starting to realize that he didn't create anger. He touched the nerve. He touched the nerve that had been sitting there for years. And maybe that rage wasn't telling me to attack anybody. It was telling me to stop abandoning yourself. Stop shrinking where you come from. Stop apologizing for the parts of you that don't fit neatly into somebody else's definition of success. Stop believing access to somebody else's worlds mean that they rescued you from your own. I don't know anybody worship for the life that I built. I worked, I sacrificed, I've helped people. I've opened doors, God blessed me, and I walked through them. And I am allowed to decide for myself what that all means. So no, I'm not trying to become less empathetic. I'm not trying to stop understanding people. That's part of who I am, but I'm learning something that I can step into your shoes without leaving mine behind. And if you never truly understand me, completely understand me, it's okay, because I'm finally starting to. And maybe the question isn't, why don't these people understand me? Maybe the question is, what would my life look like if I stopped requiring them to? But I'm still trying to figure that one out. But until then, take it from somebody that knows. Just dig your nose. Peace.